Hey Life, hi. I want to bring you a message today called Did I Not Say? Did I Not Say? This message comes out of John chapter 11. Please read it when you have a chance, but it's a story of Lazarus, the same story that we talked about last week. In the story, the sisters send to Jesus saying, Lazarus, your friend, is sick, and Jesus gets the news, and Jesus decides to stay where he is for 2 days and let Lazarus die. The entire time, Jesus is speaking with faith, saying that this isn't the end of the story. The story's not over. That I'm going to go, and this death will be used for the glory of God. It will not end in death. He talks to disciples. The disciples, he begins to see the situation differently than the disciples see it. He says, hey, right now our friend Lazarus is asleep. I need to go wake him up. And he's clearly talking about the death of Lazarus. They don't really understand that. And then it goes in, Jesus enters into the town where the sisters are at and where Lazarus' body lays dead. And the sisters say, Jesus, if you had been here, you could have saved our brother if you could have been here. And Jesus, he begins to tell them, I am the resurrection, I am the life. And he says, did I not say that if you believe, you will see? Did I not say that if you believe, you will see? And that's really the message I want to bring to you today. Did God not say that if you will believe, you will see? I was sitting at breakfast with Lex on this past Monday at a restaurant called Snooze in Houston, and we're sitting at lunch, and all of a sudden God just put this message on my heart. He just put it on my mind, and I couldn't shake it. For anybody out there that feels discouraged, anxious, worried, fearful, has experienced major pain, maybe major trauma, major loss, major hurdles, obstacles in your life. And really the message I want to preach to you is this. Did God not say? Did he not say that even though right now this part of your story or a part of your story may have had significant pain, did God not say that if you will believe in him, you will see his goodness? You will see his glory, which means you'll see his significance. You'll see his beauty. You'll see his superiority in your life. That's what I want to preach to you today. Did God not say? Did he not say that if you believe, that you're going to see? You know, the first thing I see in this story today is I see that right away, the way that we view what's happening in our life determines how we respond to it. Jesus, at the beginning of this story, he views the situation in one way, that this situation is a part of a testimony that will be for the glory of God and for the good of the disciples, Martha, Mary, and Lazarus. Martha and Mary view it in a very different way. The disciples view it in a very different way. And the disciples, the way they view it as, oh, Lazarus just needs rest. Well, why would we go put our lives in danger back in the place where Lazarus is at? Because people there have tried to stone us. So their response goes based off of how they viewed it. Mary and Martha, their response is based off of how they view it, that this is the end of the story. Major pain has to be welling up, major tragedy, major loss, major anxiety, major depression. I mean, we literally see Mary who doesn't come out to meet Jesus right away, who stays in the house and can't even be comforted by people. Have you ever been in that place where people can't comfort you? Nothing anybody says can comfort you. You're just down, you're depressed, you're thinking maybe the story's over. But how you see it determines how you respond to it. And I want to say this, if you have a pulse, you still have a purpose. If you're alive, God still has a plan. And if you can go to heaven and say, God, help me see this part of my story the way you see it and not the way that I'm naturally inclined to see it, which means help me to see it from an eternal perspective. Help me to see that this is just part of the story, that you're going to do more, that I'm going to see your goodness, I'm going to see your glory. Help me to see it in your light instead of in this way that I see it, where this is the end. This is horrible. Nothing good could ever come from this. It reminds me of the Bible verse that says, now we see in part, but one day we will see in full. That verse is speaking to the idea that right now in humanity, we only see, we see today, not tomorrow. We see a piece of the puzzle, not the full picture. We see a pixel of the picture, not the full picture. It's blurry. It's confusing. Things are coming at us day by day. And so we can't rely on what we see. We have to ask God to help us to see everything how he sees it so that we can get the help of heaven in our life. Because hear me, God's already seeing beyond your anxiety. God's already seeing beyond your pain. God is already seeing beyond what's troubling you. God is already seeing beyond your depression. God is already seeing beyond your doubt. God already sees beyond that. And I know right now it's tempting to give up. It's tempting to give in, but God sees beyond it. And he's not aware of your trouble. In this story, he's aware of the pain the girls are going through. He's aware of the pain the disciples are going through. It's not that he's ignoring it. He's with them in the middle of it. He hasn't abandoned you. He's with you. But he also doesn't stop there. He also has a plan beyond it. He's already talking and thinking and scheming up the opportunity on the other side of this test, because God, even though this is so cheesy and it's a church line, God is already looking at your test, your tough time, your tough day. He's already looking at how it can become a testimony tomorrow. But the temptation is to do what the sisters say. If God, if you would have been here. It's that whole coulda, shoulda, woulda thing, right? If God could have been here, if God would have been here, this would have happened. God could have been here and done this. God should have been here and done this. And that emotion, that doubt, that serious just confusion at times and wanting to put the blame on God, it's a human emotion. It's a human emotion, and honestly, we all experience it. We experience it in little things like at school. Well, if I would have worn that, they would have noticed me. If I would have said that, they would have been my friend. If I would have gone there, then I would have fit in. And we think about this stuff all the time, if we're being honest. It's a human emotion. My question is in your tough days, it's not that you need to shame yourself for having the emotion of doubt. That you need to shame yourself for having the emotion of, well, here's the thing. That thought can either take you captive. That thought can take you captive and make you a bitter person. It can make you grow bitter and hate God and hate the world and hate your story and hate the people that have done it to you, be offended and unforgiving and have a hard heart that is just mean and ugly. Or that emotion, that question, that doubt, you can take it captive. The Bible tells us that we need to take every thought captive. Almost like a TSA agent when you're going through an airport, or a security agent when you're going through a security checkpoint. If you have anything on you that doesn't belong in the place you're going, they'll confiscate that thing. And that thought, when it comes to your mind of doubt, it's time to take that thing captive and take it to God and say, God, I want to see this how you see it. I want you to give me perspective. I want you to help me know the things that you know and see the things that you see. And they get past this if emotion because they take it to Jesus. And Jesus, he says, take me to the tomb. They take him to the tomb and he says, roll away the stone. And the sisters go, but it's going to stink in there. And Jesus, one of our biggest challenges with Jesus is for us in our tough times. We want to keep Jesus out of our most vulnerable areas of our heart. We want to say, oh, Jesus, you can't go to that place. It's too messed up. Jesus, you can't go to that place. It stinks too much. Jesus, you can't go to that place. And it reminds me of how the Bible talks about a heart of stone and a heart of flesh. A heart of stone, nothing can get through to it. Everything just bounces off. Faith bounces off. Hope bounces off. Peace bounces off. Love bounces off. But when the stone gets rolled away and you have a heart of flesh and Jesus can come in and you're willing to let him into your life, you're willing to say, Jesus, I'm here. Whatever you want, whatever you say, whatever you want to do in my life, do it. My life is a blank check for your kingdom and your glory. When we can get to that place, faith can enter our life. Hope can enter our life. Love can enter our life. Peace can enter our life. The full knowledge of God, the full wisdom of God, the full hope of God can enter into our life. God wants to take the tough times that you faced. He wants to make them a testimony for your good and his glory. But you got to let him in. You got to be willing to be obedient. You got to put away the heart of stone. Put away the facade that everything's all right. Put away the facade that you're too cool. Put away the facade of all that and let Jesus come in and begin to put everything in your life in proper perspective and proper place. Lastly, Lazarus comes out of the tomb and Jesus says, hey, unbind him, loose him. And so there's a process that begins, and it kind of throws me off because I'm like, Jesus, you performed the miracle to raise a guy from the dead. Could you not have just had the grave clothes fall off when you did it? It's almost that reality of like we expect right when Jesus comes into our life, like, hey, can all the bad things just fall off? Can all the hard things just fall off? All the things I feel bound to, all the things that I feel anxious about, all the things I feel depressed about, can't they just fall off in that moment? I believe the presence of God can make them feel light, but they still can be there. And it takes entering into the process of being loosed and freed from the thing that's binded you, just like in the story. Maybe you got to get some friends like Lazarus had to have because you're so bound. And maybe you got to talk to a leader. Maybe you got to talk to a friend. Maybe you got to talk to a pastor. But remember this, it's a process. It's a process of seeing your story how God sees your story, of having faith in the midst of when you used to have doubt. It's a process. And all you got to do is every day get up. Just like I put this ring on every day, get up. Say, Jesus, today, where do you want me to go? What do you want me to say? What do you want me to do? Jesus, today, how would you want to use my life? Jesus, today, let me see everything how you see it. And as he begins to download into your mind and into your heart, as he begins to exchange your heart of stone for a heart of flesh, as he begins to change your anxiety for peace, your doubt for faith, your hopelessness for hope, your depression for joy, as he begins to change that, you just have to lean into it, obey him. And right away, you won't have a mark. Right away, you won't be changed. Right away, everything won't be different and life be perfect. But you will look back over your life after 3 years of being married, and now I take this ring off, but everybody still knows I'm married because there's a mark. And Jesus wants to mark your life with the things of the Spirit: hope, love, sound mind, peace. He wants to mark your life with that. But it starts the process. Did God not say? Did God not say that if you believe every day, you're going to see? If you can wake up and ask him again, you're going to see. If you can get up and pray to him again, you're going to see. If you can get up, he's cooking something up. The other day this is it, I'm done. The other day I was making bacon for Graham, and Graham keeps saying, Dad, I want bacon. Dad, I want bacon. Graham, I'm cooking it. Graham, I'm cooking it. Graham, I'm cooking it. So finally I give him some blueberries and some orange juice. I'm like, buddy, while you wait, do this. That's a significant thing, by the way. While you wait for the joy, while you wait for the peace, while you wait for the love, while you wait for the hope, while you wait for the faith, God has something for you to do right now. God, make me aware. Open up my eyes to what you have for me today, even when I'm not experiencing everything I want to experience. But finally, Graham keeps asking. I say, Graham, did I not tell you? I've got bacon in the oven. I'm cooking it up. It's going to be ready in a second. And that's what I want to leave you with today. Did God not say? I know right now you feel like you don't have what you've been asking for. Right now you don't feel like you're seeing what I'm saying. Right now you feel like maybe God's distant, but I'm telling you, if your doubt can lead to intimacy and not distance, God's cooking something up for you. He's got a testimony on the other side of this thing, and you're going to see it. Did I not say that if you believe, you'll see it? Hey, I love you. We'll see you next week.